Okay, so now that we've completed everything that I wanted to do for this set image demo, doing it with a private inner class, I want to go ahead and modify the way that I'm implementing this event handler to do this with what is known as an anonymous inner class. So I'll first go ahead and rewrite this to show one of these anonymous inner class implementations, and then I'll talk a little bit about exactly where that naming convention comes from and exactly what that means. So I want to go ahead and modify the previous button first. So I want to go ahead and take away the code that's right here. And instead I want to replace this with the implementation of one of these anonymous inner classes. So the way that I'm going to do this is that I want to say that I'm going to make a new event handler. And this again will be for action event. We'll be using a constructor for this, so I'm going to put my pair of parentheses right here to indicate that this is a call to a constructor for my event handler. And then the next thing I want to do, in addition to making this call to the constructor and also providing my new keyword, is I'm going to also provide the actual definition for this class right here. So I'm going to include a pair of curly braces, push enter, and then right in here I'm going to start implementing this class. So the only thing that I need to do for this is basically implement that handle method again. So we're going to say public void handle. This again will still take action events. And we're going to go ahead and just make this an action event that we call event. We then provide the code for our handle method. And right in here, I just want to be able to take all of the code related to my previous button and put that into here. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut the code that's right here and place that right here. Okay, go ahead and save that, and now take a quick look at this. So we'll start from the inside and work our way back out. So looking at the inside of this, we still have this if statement. We're saying if event.getSource is equal to the previous button, we'll go ahead and perform this action, but I don't really need this statement anymore, so I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this if statement and just leave it as this one line of code. And the reason for that is because of the fact that I'm setting up this event handler in such a way that the implementation and the registration of it is all going to be handled at once, and it's going to be directly related to the previous button, meaning that this particular line of code for this event handler is only ever going to be executed whenever the previous button is being clicked. So it's a guarantee that the source of this event is going to be the previous button, meaning that that if statement doesn't really do anything useful anymore. Okay. Then working our way back to the outside. So now we'll go ahead and take a look at exactly what I've done here. So I've essentially provided a call to a constructor for my event handler, specifically for action events, and I provided a definition for the class all within this single piece of code right here. And the reason that we call this an anonymous inner class is because of the fact that, much like with the private inner class, this is still going to be a class that is contained inside of another class. So it's still going to have that inner portion of it. And we also didn't actually provide a name for this particular class. So unlike what we did right here, where we called this the image action class, you'll notice that for this anonymous inner class, we didn't actually give it a name. So that's why it's considered to be anonymous. Okay. So now that we've set up this for the previous button, I want to go ahead and do it for the next button as well. So we'll do pretty much the same thing here. So we'll keep that new keyword, but replace this with an event handler for action event. This will be a call to a constructor. We'll create the body, and then we'll go ahead and implement this handle method. This is also going to be for an action event. We'll call it event still. And for this one, we're going to have pretty much the same line of code as we did for the previous button. The one difference is that we're setting this to image 2. So in this case, I'll just go ahead and write it out. So we'll do our image view.setImage, and it will be image 2. Okay. And now that we've done all of this, we no longer need this private inner class. So we'll just go ahead and remove all of the code for that. And now the implementation is just being handled right here within this call to our setOnAction method. So now the previous button and the next button have their own two distinct implementations of our event handler. More specifically, they have their own distinct implementations of that handle method. So one is used to set the image to image 1, and the other is used to set the image to image 2. So then to go ahead and demonstrate that this will still do the same or perform the same way as it did before, we'll go ahead and just do a compilation and then run it. This is going to be for setImageDemo.java. We'll then go ahead and run it. So we see that our interface still looks the same. If I click the next image button, it still navigates to the next image. And if I click the previous image button, that'll navigate back to the previous image. Okay, so at this point, this will wrap up this demonstration of implementing our event handler, or being able to handle events with an anonymous inner class. In the next video, I'm going to take a look at this one last time, but with a Lambda expression instead.